Hello everybody, Iain Robson here for a soil mod tutorial for Farming Simulator 2015. So when you look in the bottom right hand corner, these are the components that make up the soil mod. You'll see soil pH, moisture, nutrients N and pK, weed infestations, herbicides, and weed prevention. So the ideal soil pH to get the 100% yield is 6.8, and that'll give you a 100% yield increase. So how do you increase the soil pH? You increase it by spreading lime using the solid fertilizer spreader for dry fertilizer, and you can plow the lime in to increase its effect or cultivate it in to increase its effect. The only downfall is if you plow it under, you actually decrease the moisture of the soil. Also, you can use compost, which will increase your soil pH by 0.2 if you plow it into the ground. Soil moisture. Soil moisture is consumed at different growth stages throughout soil mod. It's calculated daily at 12 p.m. and plants also use the moisture as well. So if you have weeds, for example, or if you have like canola or something like that, or alfalfa, they will also use moisture. And plowing decreases your moisture usually by about 14%. So one of the things to note is if it's a rainy day, for example, your moisture will actually increase hourly instead of at 12 o'clock. So keep that in mind. So what happens, what changes the soil moisture? So on sunny days when they're over 22 degrees Celsius, the moisture will decrease by about 14%. On rainy days, as I mentioned, it'll increase hourly depending on how much rain you get, and it'll increase depending on a small amount basically. If you leave manure or compost on the ground and don't mix it into the ground at all, like plowing or cultivating, it'll actually increase your moisture of your soil by about 14%. Also, if you spray fertilizer, specifically liquid fertilizer or liquid herbicide, it'll increase your soil moisture by about 14%. So as a general rule of thumb, if you're spraying fertilizer or herbicide, always use the liquid kind because it kind of gives you a little bit of extra effect unless you have a really wet map. Slurry will also increase your moisture by about 14% when you cultivate it into the ground. Spraying water is the best way to increase your moisture, and that it improves the soil moisture by about 20%, and it changes depending on the conditions on the map itself. Nutrients. So nutrient N, the ideal level is 5, and that'll give you a yield percentage increase of 100%. Nutrient pK. Nutrient pK level is level 4, and that'll give you the yield percentage increase of 100%. So how do you increase NPK with chemical fertilizers? So you have three options: NPK, PK, and N. So NPK will increase your nutrients, or your N nutrient, by 3 and your PK by 1. If you spread just PK, it'll increase your N by nothing and increase your PK by 3. If you spread just N, it'll increase your N nutrient by 5, but it'll also decrease the soil pH. So keep that in mind. Slurry, solid manure, and compost. So here, your best bet honestly is to use manure and to plow it into the ground. So when you plow manure into the ground, it'll give you a nutrient N of plus 11 and a nutrient PK of plus 4, but it'll also decrease the soil moisture because you're plowing it into the ground, of course. So you can also cultivate it into the ground with a reduced effect on the soil moisture, and that'll give you plus 6 N nutrient and plus 2 PK. Slurry will give you plus 3 N and plus 0 for PK, and the same thing whether you plow or cultivate it. Compost will increase your N nutrient by 3 and PK by 1, and of course if you plow it, you'll decrease your soil moisture by about 14%. Also, compost will increase your pH by 0.2, which is a nice little side effect. And if you just cultivate compost, you'll get plus 1 on N and PK nutrient. Weed infestation. So weeds, you get weeds on your map, they'll grow randomly on each field basically, and you have to deal with them throughout your game on any map that has soil mod enabled basically. So without weed prevention, you'll get weeds on your fields just like you see here in the picture. So herbicides and weed prevention. The following herbicides can be used on the crops below. So you have two types. You have A or double A. Double A, double B, double C, they're just double dose, so they'll have longer weed prevention. There's also a herbicide X, which will kill all the plants, all the weeds, all the crops, but it also removes all the fertilizers and will decrease your pH slightly. So for herbicide A, canola, corn, potato, sugar beet, soybean, sunflower, alfalfa, and clover. Herbicide B, wheat, barley, potato, sugar beet, soybean, rye, oat, rice, and sunflower. And herbicide C, wheat, barley, canola, corn, rye, oat, rice, alfalfa, and clover. So I'll put a link in the description to a reference sheet for that stuff. So the ideal combination for the soil mod is a soil pH of 6.8, a soil moisture of 57%, nutrient N level of 5, and a nutrient pK level of 4. I hope you found this little short tutorial helpful, and you can subscribe for more tutorials. My name's Iain Robson, and I'll catch you guys later.